What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Mountain Enduro podcast. I am your host, Justin Park, media producer for BME. Today we've also got BME's founder, Brandon Ontiveros, and our guest today is pro rider Marco Osborne, longtime BME podium fixture. He's also done very well on the EWS circuit and is generally just an awesome guy. That's why we've got him here today. We're going to talk to him about his unique perspective on racing, his haircut, among other things. And so Marco, we're recording this early May, so we're all in some form of quarantine, lockdown, whatever. You're in Truckee, right? Tahoe area?
Yeah, that's right. Truckee, California.
Nice. And you're coming off a couple surgeries you were telling us about. Just real quick, tell us kind of what's going on with you, what you've been up to, what life is like out there for you right now.
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird time, really. It's like coming off injuries, so I'm like super fired up to start riding again. We've had all these restrictions, stay-at-home orders and whatnot. So yeah, it's been kind of a bittersweet kind of thing. I've just kind of been focusing on getting 100% back to 100% health and just trying to enjoy a little bit of time on my bike. We just got a new bike going with Transition, new Sentinel. So been just so fired up just to get out and ride. And I've been doing a bunch of trail work and just trying to kind of get out into the woods and do my thing. I broke my ankle back in September. That was probably I didn't actually have surgery, but it was probably the worst injury I've had besides that big concussion a few years ago. But the rehab took so long. Like, I'm still feeling it to this day. But even as the new year hit, I was still just like hitting rehab super hard. My ankle was still so weak. Like, it was just kind of rolling, just like walking on rocks and whatnot. So yeah, I just spent a lot of time in the gym and focused on that. Now the ankle's feeling good. Wrist is good. So back in July, I had a crash testing suspension over at North Star and just kind of like slapped my hands on the ground. And I thought I just sprained it and ended up pushing through the rest of the season. Like, I raced Whistler and North Star and all that kind of stuff, thinking I had a sprained wrist. But then after my ankle got better in November, I was starting to ride and I was like, man, my wrist is not getting any better, like maybe I should get this MRI that I had ordered back in summer. So I got the MRI. MRI came back and they're like, yeah, you've got a broken scaphoid. We got to put a screw through it. It's the best way to heal it. So as soon as my ankle was healed, I had to jump into surgery for my wrist. So it's just kind of like this stringing along of injuries that I've been dealing with for the past 6-7 months. But now I'm good, feeling 100%. Riding's been more exciting than ever. So yeah, stoked to put that all behind me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you and a lot of other people have a lot of pent-up energy coming out of this. So it'll be good to get back to racing. Brandon and I know you from the BMEs and kind of know your whole steez, but for people that don't, I mean, you live a full life on the road. You get some fishing in, you're generally camping. And I mean, talk to us about what your sort of philosophy on this race lifestyle is and how you keep it fun for yourself and what's a typical race for you? What else are you trying to build in there besides just the race itself?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've been super fortunate to be in this position to be able to race my bike around the world and travel to all these beautiful places. And it's just pretty special to be able to travel, and you're over there for work technically, right? But at the same time, you're in this amazing new country or whatnot, and it's an opportunity to kind of check it out and kind of make the most of it. So I always pack my fishing rod, and I like to go a little bit early before the race or stay after. And not to pre-ride the trails. I'm not there scouting out the trails. I'm scouting out the rivers to go kind of get lost for a bit and catch some fish and kind of see a little bit of the local culture and food. And yeah, it's, for me, that's what it's all about, right? Like just making the most of this short and special time we get on Earth. So that's my kind of program. I'm always looking to either score some waves or go fishing, or I don't know, just go beat down on the rental car and explore some dirt roads, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, going to New Zealand, it's kind of been a tradition to go hit this one river. First time I ever went over there, I think it was 2014. I was with Ben Cruz and Ben's dad, and we went a week early while everyone was in Rotorua riding all the trails and trying to find the stages and pre-practice. We were camping along this river and like hunting down these massive rainbow trout. So it's just nice to kind of, I don't know, do your own thing and get ready for a big race. Kind of just, I don't know, it's almost like meditation in a sense, right? Like you're not thinking about the big stresses of a race. You're just out there having a good time.
Yeah, obviously you're still super competitive in these races. It's not like some indifference to the racing, but do you feel like that attitude sort of helps you? And what's you mentioned that you're not necessarily out there pre-riding super hard. What's your take on the pre-riding? Is your pre-ride just catching some fish? And do you like racing somewhat blind or fully blind? What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, now they're closing all the courses a week before. So before an EWS, like it's nice to be there, get used to the time zone and whatnot. But if like, there's no way to actually go and like pre-ride the actual courses unless you show up 2 weeks early and try to like, you know, search them out, which people are doing, which is bad for our sport. But for me, yeah, it's like, go a little bit early, or just, you know, get used to the dirt or the terrain for like a day or two before practice. But I mean, realistically, we only get one run on each track. So I don't, you know what I mean? It's like everyone's supposed to be on the same playing field anyways.
Totally.
But yeah, people are going 2 weeks early now and trying to kind of scout things out, and I don't know, it's like a race before the race, you know, to get over there and search things out. That's why I just, you know, I rather race blind where there's no practice. It's less stress and less course analytics or whatnot, you know, just go out there and ride your bike.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Rotorua. You've been all over the world and all over the U.S., Canada. What's some of your favorite places that you've been, whether it's for the biking or for the peripheral stuff?
I think New Zealand in a whole, like North and South Island. Just the fact that, like, I don't know, it just seems like everything there revolves around outdoor lifestyle. And the access for camping and fishing and walking tracks every, 10 miles on the highway. And it's just really remote and really easy to feel lost, and it's quiet. It's definitely my favorite place to go travel. There's good waves an hour and a half from Rotorua. So this last year, we went and camped out at Raglan for a couple days, riding surfboards and tried to catch waves and whatnot. I'm not that good at that, but it's still fun to try,
For sure.
Yeah, I was just watching go and catch all the waves, but yeah, it's nice to. I mean, we could have been in Rotorua riding other trails, but we're on such a strict schedule here to there. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just going to each EWS event to just go and ride the trails, like, you're missing out on other experiences in life and travel. So yeah, I like to kind of mix it up and keep it fun, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Talk to us about Randy. People that follow you on social media know that you're always telling Randy to send it. Hashtag send it, Randy. But for people that follow you and don't know who Randy is or what Randy is, or people that don't follow you and want to, give us the shorthand of who you're talking to when you're talking to Randy.
Yeah, Randy, I don't know. It's like, I guess it's kind of like a inner character or whatnot. It wasn't something I just planned to create. It's just kind of, or I guess you could say, just kind of snowballed and created itself, really. But it's like a nickname, you know. But it's not for me. It's for anybody who wants to just get out there and send it and kind of have that wild character, you know. Anybody could send it, like Randy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everyone's like, it's not just one person. Anybody could kind of feel that and feed off that energy. It's just something fun to keep it interesting and keep people fired up. And I don't know, it's just one of those things, like all of a sudden Mark Weir's and my buddies, we're just out in the woods doing trail work and all that kind of stuff, and we just started saying it kind of based off Trailer Park Boys. My buddy Vinny, he's an Army veteran. He was going through some tough times, and he was staying on my couch, and we were doing trail work every day, and we were just having a good time, and we were just, you know, talking shit in the woods and send it Randy and giving each other nicknames. And all of a sudden it's starting to catch on a little bit through Instagram. And then all of a sudden all the photographers at the EWS are screaming at me to send it Randy. And, you know, this was 2015, 2016. And then it's just one of those things that just keeps snowballing and it becomes your nickname. And then, you know, now everyone's just, all the little kids are fired up on it. People want stickers, and I don't know, it's just something fun. And just kind of, when you get into your send it mode, you kind of have your little alter ego, you know?
Totally. Well, being one of those on-course photographers, Justin speaking here, I can attest to it being just fun to yell, send it, Randy.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's something about it that's fun to yell. So that's half the battle.
It was pretty wild at North Star. Like, some of the local guys and my friends, like, they had signs, and there's just people fired up, like cutting little mullets in their head. You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't know, just having a good time, trying to embrace that kind of loose mountain bike mentality, trying to enjoy it.
We'll make sure that we've got some photos of the mullet so that people know what Randy, what Marco's sometime alter ego Randy looks like. It's a pretty luxurious mullet. It's almost like a hawk mullet. Would we call it a hawk mullet? What are we calling it now?
I don't know. It's not like a full rock star mullet. It's more like a sewer rat style, kind of more, you know, keep the top out of the eyes, and the sides always at a 1 to a 0. Always cut the sides for speed, you know. And the back I haven't touched in over I don't know, 17 months or so. So the back's real long. People are telling me to cut it, but I don't know. It's getting pretty hilarious, so might as well run it.
Mm-hmm. Run it.
Yeah.
You mentioned Mark Weir. I think Brandon knows his story better than I do, and wanted to ask you kind of about your relationship with Mark.
Yeah, Marco. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, for the audience out there who really doesn't know your background and growing up in California and all that stuff, wanted to bring up, you know, Weir and how he might have been an impact or mentor to your career and shaping you as a mountain biker and kind of keeping that fun lifestyle in mind. But for those listening, give us a little history there on your guys' relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Like if it wasn't for Weir, I wouldn't be here doing this podcast pretty much. You know, if you look at it way back. Yeah, just coming up, I grew up in the same town as Weir, and I had some buddies in high school that raced mountain bikes and were good friends with Mark. And the Ravina brothers, they introduced me to Weir. We would go over to his pump track and dig and ride and kind of just, you know, hang out and whatnot and try to bump some fresh tires off him and whatnot, because he was the big name pro in the town. And then I just started riding with my buddy Thomas, and, you know, then all of a sudden it was like, I think I was 19. I got an invite to go ride at Weir's friend's ranch in Novato. And that's kind of how I got introduced to him, was through my buddies Thomas and Chris. And we went to a local race, one of the CCX races. I ended up, I think I got 4th or 3rd behind Ben and Weir. Kyle, I think I might have beat out Warner. And they were like, whoa, like this kid is coming up. Like, I think he has the speed. And then a couple of days later, Ben was like, hey, you got to come over. Weir's got something for you. And they had one of Weir's old Cannondale Jekylls sitting there in the garage, and they're like, hey man, you're on the team now. And I was just like lost for words, you know, like they gave me some of their old jerseys and whatnot. And that's when I started technically, you know, riding grassroots for WTV and just alongside Weir and Ben Cruz. And then the year after is when I first signed with Cannondale in 2014. So that's kind of the kind of introduction I got to Weir, is kind of just through my buddies Thomas and Chris Ravina, then getting to ride with Ben, and they pretty much brought me in under their wing, you know, and I guess they saw potential. I guess I had a lot of speed, but I was struggling to contain it. So yeah, then riding, Weir was he was still racing 2014, but he was kind of at the end of his racing career, you could say. He was doing some local stuff and had some bad injuries. So I never really got to race much with Weir. So then I was pretty much like looking up to Ben Cruz at that point, race-wise, you know, because he was in Europe with Weir and racing Trans-Provence and the EWS, and he was getting top 10s as the fastest American. And I was their teammate. I was over in the States racing all the local stuff, and I think they really set the bar for me, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then how did that translate into, you know, being on the Cannondale team and then riding and racing with Jerome, and kind of give us the differences in what you learned from each set of racer, whether it was Weir to Ben Cruz to then Jerome Clementz, because you definitely had some icons there who shaped you and you got to chase around the mountains. But tell us a little bit of how that parlayed into being teammates with Jerome.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I didn't really race much with Weir. He wasn't really like a coach to me. He was always just he was always there to fix my bike, always there to just kind of like keep my mental side dialed. Like, he was like, dude, you've got it. You know what to do, and you've got the speed. Like, just go do it, you know? Like, he almost just like, he's like, I don't need to coach this kid, right? Like, he's got it. So yeah, like racing with Ben, I think it was 2015. He had a bunch of just some mechanicals and some stuff that kind of really hurt his career. That kind of ended his time with Cannondale, which is a big bummer, because I was like, I just got on the team. I just got the okay and the budget to go race overseas. And now my best friend, Ben, he's not racing with me anymore. And so they're like, dude, you're going to be fine. You're going to, you're kind of more on your own. So I was still on the Cannondale team, and then Jerome was the big dog, winning World Series races and titles and whatnot. So then he kind of became the guy I looked up to and the mentor and the other guy on the team that I would always race with. And that was insane. Like, it's Jerome Clementz, right? Like, he's one of the best enduro racers in the world and just kind of paved the way for the sport. And now I was on the team, I was the second rider on the team is Jerome and I, and Mateo as the mechanic. It was like a dream come true, I'm like, man, I've made it. I get to do the world tour like years and years in a row, and just awesome support from Cannondale and whatnot. And yeah, I think just seeing how Jerome did everything, just watching him and just seeing how he rides, like so composed and smooth. Like, I was kind of the complete opposite. I was just like a bat of the hell, like just kind of loose and reckless. So I think over the years, I kind of, I don't know, I would say I tried to refine my style and just kind of contain all that energy and kind of try to ride smooth. Some probably might not think that, but you just got to think, like, if you want to make it to the end of the race, like, you got to tone it back, like trust your pace, trust your speed, and just focus on riding and getting through each stage instead of just trying to go the fastest and balls out. So yeah, like, I don't know, it's a dream come true being Jerome's teammate and having Mateo as a team like road manager and mechanic. It's a pretty awesome program. Yeah, I think I learned a lot from Jerome, never thank him enough.
Nice.
And then you said Weir didn't really coach you so much, but it seems like, for people that don't know, he's sort of a larger than life character, right? I mean,
yeah.
A lady that I used to work with wrote an article about him for bicycling, and I think she called him something like the Chuck Norris of mountain biking, whatever that might mean.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of a character. Like, that's got to be a little bit of the Randy persona there, right?
Yeah, definitely a little bit. Like, definitely like kind of like his work ethic when he was racing and riding, and just hearing what he was doing, like 1,000,000 feet without a dropper post and a 38 tooth chain ring on a downhill fork. Like, just the kind of the bar he set is so high, and the stuff he was doing was just insane, right? And yeah, he's all about getting into the woods, going fishing as well, and just definitely having a good time at the end of the race, cracking a few beers and trying to make the most of it, right?
Totally. Yeah, and then Ben Cruz. Whenever I think of Ben Cruz, I just think of him. I don't want to steal the story from you, but I imagine you know what I'm thinking of on one of the BMEs.
Totally.
He did a little hunting without any sort of weapon. Do you want to spin that one real quick, just to give people a sense of Ben Cruz?
I mean, that's a great story because that was at a BME race. So, I think, what was it? 2016.
That sounds right.
I think it was 2014 at the CB Ultra, actually.
Was it the Ultra?
It was definitely CB. It was definitely CB.
The Ultra. Okay, because he did it again at North Star a couple years after.
So for people that don't know, BME did a 5-day enduro down in Crested Butte in 2014. Is that right, Brandon?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so that's the scene, which is insane enough. I was thinking back on it, but so we'll say 2014 CB Ultra. That sounds believable.
Yeah, so we're at the top of Doctors Park, and actually I was ahead of him by like half an hour with Jerome and a couple other people, and so we finished the Dr. Park stage, and we get down there. We're waiting for the shuttle to pick us up, and Ben comes rolling into the parking lot and has this giant grin on his face. And if you know Ben, you know this grin has something's going on. Like it's not just a nice grin because you like riding bikes. He's doing something else. So we're like, all right, what's up, dude? Like, why are you so fired up? Like, do you have a good run? He's like, no, fuck the run. He's like, I got dinner. and he pulls out this massive grouse out of his backpack. Oh my gosh. And we were all dying laughing, and like, we're like, dude, how did you get it? He's like, man, I was going up the climb. I was real tired. I had to pull off. And all of a sudden these grouse are just hanging out, and they're pretty annoying, And so he grabbed a rock and chucked a rock at it. And apparently he got it and just threw it in his backpack. And sure enough, he brought it back to the hotel, and we had it for dinner. And
that's classic.
Jerome was pretty skeptical about eating it, but yeah, we made him eat a little bit of it. But yeah, it was delicious. That good old mountain chicken.
Yeah, grouse is great.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That's Go ahead.
And then he did it again in North Star. We're racing one of the local North American enduro tours and going up the transfer, and sure enough, Ben's got another grouse in his backpack. And then after the race, we were eating it in the parking lot at a Ryan Gardner's camp stove. Pretty classic shit.
That's unbelievable. Yeah. So you don't even have to go early to hunt. You can just hunt during the enduro.
Yeah, you just hunt during the race.
It's much more efficient.
Yeah. Holy shit.
That's incredible. Yeah.
I know you recently signed with Transition. Let's touch on that relationship and how that came to fruition. And you've mentioned your new bike a couple of times. Maybe we'll have you talk about that new partnership with you and Transition.
Totally. Yeah. Last fall, I signed with, or not last fall, but yeah, 2018. Everything was all planned to go with Cannondale and whatnot. And then last minute they changed and their whole budget got kind of rearranged, and the entire enduro team was going away. So therefore I didn't have a job anymore. So yeah, I was looking around and trying to find a team, EWS team. And yeah, everyone was pretty much had nothing. And I just was like, oh, I'll call Lars, like at Transition, I'm gonna call him and see what's going on. And he was like, dude, no matter what happens, like I got your back, like he's like, I'm not sure if we can support you like a big EWS team, but no matter what, dude, I got your back. So just like hearing that, and I was like, man, like this could be a perfect fit. Like Transition, like they're all about just having a good time, partying in the woods. Their bikes are awesome. They looked awesome. I never ridden them before, but yeah, that's kind of how it happened. Like I had a couple other offers, but it just made sense to have an opportunity with Transition. It just seemed perfect, right? So yeah, signed with them. I'm working with Lars. He runs some of their marketing and all their athletes. And he's actually one of the guys I started racing with alongside Weir and Ben. And so I've known him for a while. And yeah, he's actually a good buddy. So it worked out really well. But yeah, we've got a new Sentinel that just released last week. 150 mils in the back, 160 in the front, super slack and a little bit longer. It looks like a jet, dude. It looks really good as well as it rides. So yeah, I've just been so fired up to ride that. It's a serious machine. So it's been fun.
Yeah. It seems like a badass bike. Well, that's pretty cool. Those guys are great dudes over there, and it's a good company, and your new haircut blends in well with the fun that those guys like to have too.
Yeah, they're awesome. It's a complete opposite philosophy is what I was on with Cannondale. They're all about what I want to do. They're like no stress on doing this event, doing that. They're like, you do whatever Marco wants to do. So it's kind of a dream come true to team up with them and be able to ride their awesome bikes and get to travel around and represent them.
You know, obviously we don't know what's going on with racing right now, but you said you got a lot of pent up energy to get on the bike and do your thing. But I mean, what are you excited about in terms of racing right now, whether it's business endeavors, just, you know, things that you're working on with racing, what's got you fired up? What's got you in Randy mode, excited about the future?
Yeah, Randy's excited about building new trail up here. Like we've got a lot of trail up here in Truckee and in this area, but there's not a lot of loose EWS caliber trails, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my goal, is just to keep riding and making little videos and trying to do what I can, work with sponsors and just keep building new trails and kind of pushing that limit and trying to get that feeling on the bike, you know, that loose, rowdy, loose stuff. So yeah, just kind of in getting to enjoy the spring and summertime up here. Like I'm usually always traveling, so I don't ever get as much time to kind of explore in my own backyard, to say. So I'm looking forward to doing that, doing some camping and riding dirt bikes and fishing with Weir. I was just at his Graygle spot last weekend and riding moto to the fishing spot and that kind of thing. There's no one out there really. So it's those little things, getting able to enjoy hanging with friends and riding locally. And I don't know if we go racing, yeah, I'm excited to do that this year. Feeling good on the bike, and the new bike's just next level. So I don't know, whenever it happens, I'm ready to go.
Thanks to everyone who tuned in, and thanks as always to our sponsors, Yeti Cycles, Maxxis Tires, Shimano, Fox, Stan's No Tubes, Raceface, Industry 9, and Upslope Brewing.